everybody, Julie Bogart here. I'm coming to you live from Paris. I'm visiting my daughter Katrin, and we had a lot of fun yesterday. I was too loud, and so my neighbor came and knocked on the door and reprimanded me, and then I ran into her today as I was coming back in, and she said to Katrin and me, "Hey, I'm the one who knocked on your door and told you to be quiet." So I'm going to do my best to remember that I'm wearing a mic. I'm going to talk at a reasonable volume. My windows are closed. And even though I get excited, I'm not going to yell. And this will be a great experiment in self-control for me. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I speak on this broadcast usually every day at 8 a.m. Eastern when I'm in the States. But right now I'm visiting Katrin, my youngest of 5, who is an exchange student in Paris. So I am doing these way late at night. It is 11:45 Paris time. I don't know if I'll get to do any more, but I got to do yesterday and today. So today we're on day 33, and there are 50 essays in A Gracious Space Fall. We are making our way through all the way to the number 50 essay, and then we will take a short break and start right in with A Gracious Space Winter. So if you don't own either of these yet, you can go to Amazon.com. They're both listed there. We always welcome reviews. It's very helpful for us to get the word out that this broadcast exists and that the books are available. Or you can buy them as a digital download in our store using the link that I attached to this broadcast post. And this week I've brought mine on Kindle, so I didn't have to carry the book with me. Bonjour. So great to see all of you. Oh, so before we start, I told you yesterday that I have had this dream to go see Monet's gardens at Giverny ever since I visited Paris back in 1980, I think 84. And every time I come, we never go. Somehow there's not enough time, or it's bad weather, or I'm here during the winter when there's no opportunity because it's closed. Well, Giverny is open until November 1st, and today Katrin and I hopped on the train, took the bus, and we went. And it was spectacular. And it's the last week that it's open to tourists until they close for the season. Beautiful in the fall. All the leaves are gold and red and orange, and they're falling off the willow branches right into Monet's pond, right where all the water lilies are. And we were able to see the beautiful blooms at the end of summer. I mean, it was spectacular. I really didn't know it was going to happen. So, of course, I took tons of good pictures on my good camera on my iPhone, and I'll share them with you here on Facebook and also on Instagram. So if you're not following me yet, I recommend going to @JulieBraveWriter on Instagram, and then you'll be able to follow along and see. But isn't that great? So my big dream came true, and it was so great to be there with Katrin. We read Linnea in Monet's Garden back when she was a child, and she bought the book in French. So she totally remembered. And then we went together and had this experience, so that was just great. Hey, Kelly, welcome back from the UK conference where we had a fabulous time last week. I'm going to grab my water. My voice. Okay, we good? Great to see everyone. Thanks for joining me. Here we go. Day 33. Right one for the job. Bring your most satisfied self to home education. Allow yourself to feel the natural pride that goes with commitment to your kids, the joy that comes from witnessing their firsts, seconds, and thirds, the happiness that is the adventure of shared learning. Picture yourself waving goodbye to anxiety, to the version of yourself that is not good enough, and warmly embrace the vision of you that is already the right woman or man for the job. You are at your best when you believe that you are the right one. Quote of the day. This brought tears to my eyes. Thank you. And how wonderful would it be if all parents could feel this way and share this sense of self and joy with their children. homeschooler or not. Jenny Dickerson Jaminyanmi. Sustaining thought. Keep in mind an image of yourself. The caption says, she's the right one for the job. So today's reading is brief, and I want to talk about it for a few moments, but we'll keep this a short Facebook Live. So when I think about you with your kids at home all day, it would be a mistake to think someone else should be there. It will undermine your capacity to give your kids what they need. It will thwart your intuition and prevent you from following your own good ideas. You will compare yourself to your friends and find yourself wanting. That kind of attitude in homeschool usually leads to a sense of loss and defeat. Like, maybe somebody else could do a better job. Maybe if I just sent my kids to school, or we joined that co-op, or I hired enough tutors, then they'd get what they really need. And even though sometimes those solutions are fabulous, there's nothing wrong with joining a co-op. There's not even anything wrong with putting your kids in school. What you need to understand is that to do homeschooling successfully, you don't want those to be the options you assume are better than what you're able to bring to the table. In other words, if you are going to home educate, a faith in your own capacity to provide your children with the best education is your ally in success. And here's why. You have love that no other person on the planet, you have love that you can give your children. And that love is unparalleled, even if you have a great teacher, even if you've got an amazing school system. There is no one who's going to love your kids the way you do in your heart. The opportunity in home education is to make that transaction tangible to your children. Know what I'm saying? In other words, homeschooling is a performance of love between family members every day. Homeschooling is a performance of love between family members every day. And that performance of love is around the shared task of learning. You can love your children and they can be in school. You can love your children and hire tutors. You can love your children and even send them to boarding school. But you are not giving yourself the opportunity to demonstrate that love in a 365, 24-hour cycle the way you do in homeschool. Not only that, the love that you demonstrate is around this shared project of learning. And that project of learning benefits from your passion, from your self-confidence, from your awareness that no one can deliver that message of love better than you. Now, sometimes I run into parents who really do doubt their capacity to love their kids. They know they love them in their hearts, but they're going through a period of really deep personal pain with one or more children. And they feel like perhaps they're not delivering the best affirmation, the best support, the best nurturing. And if that's your situation right now, where you feel like you're not living the best version of love that you know you could live under other circumstances, well, that's worth looking at. Because why should anyone spend time together in a home if you're on eggshells, if you don't like being together, if for some reason there is tension and pain and a sense of disorientation in the relationship? So when I say you're the right one for the job, what I'm really saying, this is about to fall over and I'm trying to straighten it. When I say you're the right one for the job, what I'm really saying is this. You're the right one when you fully invest and know that the love you're giving your kids is serving them. You know? And you get to evaluate that. And in my opinion, the vast majority of homeschooling parents do a phenomenal job of it. A phenomenal job. The commitment, the patience, the vision and imagination, the desire for connection, the willingness to see through to the end on a learning disability, the capacity to reimagine tough circumstances, you can do that in a way no teacher can. Because a teacher is dealing with anywhere from 25 to 130 students, depending on if they're an elementary teacher or a high school teacher. And no tutor, even an hour or 5 hours a week, has the amount of contact with the child that you have to fully appreciate and understand the dynamics, the unique dynamics of each of your children. So you have this opportunity to take advantage of all that you know about your kids and then give it all the heart that you have for them. And that's what creates this solid foundation for homeschool. Not the right lessons, the right curriculum. It's the right parent. It's the right person that generates all the options for your children. And the reason homeschooling is doing so well now globally, and especially in the States, is that people are catching on to the truth of this. More and more people are pulling their kids out of the school system because they care more about their kids than the school system. So even if you've got the most amazing music teacher or the best math program in the whole county at your school, you are still more capable of delivering your kids the kind of affirmation and support and nurturing that they need to be well educated than those teachers. Now, that doesn't mean that your kids don't benefit from instruction from other people. I hope you'll go out and find passionate, alive, amazing instructors in all kinds of fields that you put your children in touch with. Experts, instructors, family members, community members, volunteers, people who ignite some kind of spark. You know, when my son Jacob loved astronomy, we went to the observatory. When Johanna and Noah loved Shakespeare, they joined a Shakespeare company run by equity actors. I'm not saying you can't involve other people, but guess what? It was my love for those kids that drove me to find those kinds of amazing resources, right? And that's what I mean when I talk about you being the right one for the job. You will put your ear to the ground to make sure you track down what they need to give them the biggest opportunity to learn in any subject, in any hobby. Does that make sense? So today, I want you to just put a vote of confidence into yourself and imagine your children again through that lens of love, not through the lens of what they need to know. And as you do, just remind yourself, there's no one who has the same commitment to your kids that you do. And even if you're in a rough patch, where you're not getting along well, or one of your programs isn't working, it's your heart for that child that is going to see you through this rough patch and help you find what you need to get beyond the complexity of this key moment in time. Yes, it's you. You're the one. And even if you make that big change, whatever it is, you eliminate something you thought you had to have, you give up on the dailiness of homeschool, you are still the parent and you have the heart of a homeschooler. You're going to take that right into the rest of their education for the rest of their lives. It's too late. You voted with your feet when you said you were going to homeschool. And now you get to walk it out with them and help them know that they deserve the best education because that's how committed you are. So, any questions? It's a quiet one today. Nobody's commenting, but it might also be my connection on the internet. Oh, thank you for saying you love my books, Melissa. That's fantastic. So today, as you go on with your day, consider yourself from the perspective of being the best resource your children are ever going to be privileged to have in their educations. And then move from that confidence. Stop doubting. Give yourself permission to trust. Christy says it's been a rough day. Maybe it's been a rough day for a few of you out there. All right, so here's what we can do. If you're in a rough patch, go off of this screen after I hang up here, and I want you to write down the unique benefits your children get by having you as their mother and homeschooler. Okay? I want you to just make a short list. It doesn't have to be more than 3 to 5 things. Why are my kids lucky to have me as their homeschooling parent? Okay? That's what you need. And once you make that list, fold it and tuck it in your pocket. And when doubt comes, I want you to pull it out and reread it. Okay? Because part of what is the struggle is the feeling that somehow your kids are not getting what they need. And you can reverse that by remembering what it is that you offer that is unique and good for them. Make sense? Self-love is a big one too. Heart for our kids, but also love for self over doubting ourselves. Thank you, Rebecca. Yes, it is the awareness that I do bring completely unique visions and versions of love to my children that they won't get from anyone else. So if I were to make that list, one of the things I would say about my kids, why they were lucky to have me, is that I have a global vision, and travel and living abroad is a part of the warp and woof of who I am. So they're lucky to have me because I made it possible for them to imagine that for themselves. Another thing, I'm empathetic. And when they need to talk to someone, I make myself available. A third one, I love to find the resources that help them move forward in their passions. And that's a really fun thing for them, to have a parent who's like that, who's going to hook them up with the things that they need to follow their passions. So there's 3 right there. And that's what you can do today. I want you to think of 3 to 5 things that make your kids lucky to have you as their parent, as their home educator. Debbie says, it feels like there's not enough of me to give them the best. 7 kids have me stretched. And Dolores says, I finished 17 years of homeschooling 1 year ago. Oh, awesome. And she's appreciating what I'm sharing even then. Debbie, let's talk about the stretch to the limit. So maybe, this is driving me nuts today. So maybe what you can do is this. Instead of thinking about each individual child, focus on what they get from being in a family with 7 kids. How is it that you created this community for them that enriches them, that it doesn't all have to come from you? They are lucky that you took the step of faith to have a large family so they would have sibling companionship for the rest of their lives. I feel that way. I chose to have 5 kids. My 5 kids are so connected to each other, and that's such a huge resource for them. So maybe instead of seeing it as, what can I do individually, you can pat yourself on the back for being the kind of parent who values sibling connection and creating a family of community that will outlive you. How lucky are they? And how does that manifest itself in homeschool? Well, they get to know each other. If they were all off in school, they wouldn't be building the same kinds of intimate relationships one with another that they can 7 at home all the time. See what I mean? So flip the script when you're looking at something that looks like a liability. Maybe look at it through the other angle and think to yourself, no, but how is this actually an advantage? Like the fact that I'm run by inspiration sometimes means I seem really undisciplined or not scheduled, but there's a lot of excitement with someone who goes by inspiration. So my kids have grown up with creativity, excitement, changing of pace, the willingness to chase a rabbit trail. I think those are great things for them. I think they were advantages that they got through me being their homeschooler. What else have we got here? Candy says they attend a multi-generational painting group on Tuesdays, so you've had an enjoyable day. That's fabulous. Well, we've been at this for about 20 minutes, and I'm going to let it be. Yes, flip the liability around. Good. Thanks, Carol. I'm going to let this be the end. We'll keep this one short. It seems to me like maybe this would be a good opportunity to have you post these 3 to 5 things in the comments. You can just post one. You don't have to post all of them. But pick 3 to 5 things that are advantages your kids get by you being the right person for the job, delivering love in a version that makes their lives better, okay? And it can be anything. It can be that you have a love of literature, that you're great at math, or that you are really good at cuddling, or that you know how to get tangles out, or that when you go shopping, you find a way to make the supermarket an adventure and a learning adventure, not just disciplined marching through the aisles. I don't know what it is that you do, but I'd love you to post it here, because then everybody can start thinking differently instead of only focusing on their limits, okay? All right, so thanks for joining me today. I love being able to broadcast from Paris. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Mwah. Yesterday's was really fun, so if you missed it, you might want to tune in. I rewatched that because I was so embarrassed, and you'll have to go watch it to see what calamity I got into. Okay, everybody, have a great night, great day.